laboratories all across the United States. Our headquarters is in Washington, D.C., but I at JPL that is in Pasadena, California. JPL is the largest NASA lab to do robotic missions. All the stuff that you hear about Mars or the rovers, so at JPL. So I've been very fortunate to do work there. So let's start with the Big Bang. This is not the Big Bang theory you watch on TV. This is the real Big Bang theory. So if you look at this, we believe that our universe started in the Big Bang about 13.85 billion years ago. And if we are trying to understand from where it came from, and if you want to understand this, you can go back in time only after about 400,000 years after Big Bang. So whatever happened before that, we cannot actually study that. It is electromagnetic, all this radiation that we receive. And fortunately, the two scientists actually discovered the first light of this universe. They were Penzias and Wilson. They are doing millimeter wave technology. Nowadays, everyone talks about millimeter wave. 5G, 6G is all about millimeter wave technology. However, in 1960s, they were actually doing some communication experiments at millimeter wave. And when they were looking at their data, they were finding some little bit of extra noise every time, wherever they look. And they could not really understand from where this signal was coming from. And then what is scratched there, when we cannot understand something in our experiments, in our laboratories, for students that any student used to do, what we say, that it must be experiments. But they were smarter than that. So they actually realized what they were detecting in the first light of this universe. And for that work, they went on to win the Nobel Prize in physics. So next time we do something and cannot really understand, don't think it is an error. You might win the Nobel Prize, who knows? So as I mentioned, in NASA we do science. And what we do is try to understand big science questions. So the biggest science question today is, are you alone in this universe? Is there life anywhere else outside our planet Earth? Well, I want to make it very clear. Whatever you read on YouTube, see on YouTube, whatever you read on WhatsApp, don't believe. We have not found any aliens. We have not found a single cell even outside our planet Earth. If someone tells you they found an alien, please come and let us know so that we will stop working on all this, that problem will be solved. But we have not. However, we are actually trying to find it. So people ask me, what is the possibility of finding life outside of planet Earth? You can do some back of the envelope calculations. We know that we live in the Milky Way galaxy, our galaxy, Akash Ganga, Milky Way galaxy. We have about 100 billion stars in our Milky Way galaxy. In our universe, we have about 100 billion galaxies. And we are finding that most of the stars have at least one planet, in multiple planets. They are called exoplanets, which means there are trillions and trillions of planets out there. What is the possibility of finding one such planet where life can exist? When conditions are such that life can exist, that probability is non-zero. And that's why we are actually trying to find which of those planetary bodies where we can find life. So far, we found about 5,000 plus exoplanets. And many of them are in the habitable zone where life can exist. What is the habitable zone? Habitable zones are where water can exist in a liquid form. You might say, when we are talking about life, we are talking about our kind of life, the kind of life that we know, that is hydrocarbon-based life. You might say life can be of other kind. Absolutely. How do you look for that? I am a Bengali, we are in Calcutta, we are wrapped in Rabindranath Tagore. And Tagore wrote a beautiful poem. And one of the lines of that song is, Janar Majhe Ajanare Koreche Santhan. Akal Prada Suryo Tara, that song. What it means is that we are trying to explore the unknown within what we know. And that Because here we know about how the hydrocarbon-based life, and that's what we can actively look for. And we have done that. So we have not found anything yet. But how do you find those kind of exoplanets? They're all far away. If you look at this, how we do this, there are all these stars out there. If you can isolate the total amount of light that is coming from all of these stars, and when a planet goes in front of it, if the overall light dips little bit slightly, by measuring that, we notice that there is a planet out there. And by measuring how much time it takes to go in front of the star, you can say what is the orbit, and you can know so much more. You can know what is the volume of the planet, what is the density of that, because centrifugal, centripetal forces, many of you might remember from your high school days. So to all you can actually find out what is going on, and you can find out if water can exist on those kind of planets or not. So that's what we are doing. So I said there are trillions of planets out there. How come we found only 5,000? The reason is we haven't looked really far. We have looked only in a very narrow area of our own galaxy. The reason is we don't have the technology. The leaders of technology leaders are here. Please come and help us to develop the next generation of technologies so that we can actually be detecting more number of planets and find answer to this huge question. So those are the planets that are far out there. The nearest of the planet where life can exist actually is about, it takes 40 million years to go to this technology. We cannot go there. So is there possibility of life in our own solar system? Answer is yes. Look at it. This is Saturn moon Enceladus. What you are seeing here is that water is gushing out, and this was detected by an instrument called HiFi on Herschel Space Telescope. I was involved in that instrument, and that detected this. And we are finding this is Enceladus is a very cold planetary body. If water is gushing out, it has to have some source of energy inside. If water is there, if energy is there life? We don't know what else is coming out from there. So we are actually having a mission to go to Enceladus. We are working on currently some instruments to detect what else is coming out. If there are any organic materials. Organic materials does not necessarily mean life, but in a precursor to life. So that's what we are doing. Another very interesting planetary body is Europa. Many of you know. Europa is the moon of Jupiter. Again, it's a very cold planetary body. However, it has an ocean world underneath thick ice shell. The thickness of the ice shell is about 15 to 100 kilometers. If water is there, and there has to be a mantle, because otherwise how can we have liquid water? So there is source of energy. Is there any life? NASA is planning a mission there. If NASA, we came to you and told you, okay, we are planning a mission to go to Europa, so what kind of instrument you are going to send to find out if there is life? The obvious answer is, we send a drill a hole, water bucket, and see if there is any fish. Of course, we are Bengalis, we like fish. Problem is, it takes 7 years to go to Europa. And total amount of energy that we have, power that we have for this kind of missions is 300 to 400 watts. 4 light bulbs, less than all these lights. How can you have a drill to drill 15 kilometers through ice with 4 light bulbs worth of power? We cannot do that. So we have to think differently. We are doing high resolution spectroscopy, trying to find out if there is organic material that is coming up on the surface of that. And also GPR, ground penetrating radars. I am involved in developing some of these technologies. Of course, we keep going back to Mars. Mars, why go back to Mars? India has been very successful. There was a Mangalyaan mission from ISRO. And because if you look at the early history of Mars, it resembles very much like our own planet Earth. But if you go to Mars today, it's very different. Question is, was there life on Mars at any point of time? Is there life on Mars today? So we have been building to answer that question. All these instruments, look at this. We have Pathfinder. These are all rovers. We have Pragyan rover recently on Moon. Landing on moon is very challenging, you all know that. Kudos to ISRO.